A century ago, there was a phrase in Paris for someone impossibly wealthy. Rich comme un Argentin, rich as an Argentine. In 1913, Argentina ranked among the 10 richest countries on earth per person. Wealthier than France, wealthier than Germany, its opera house rivaling Europe's finest, its port shipping beef and wheat to feed the world. Its citizens hold, by some estimates, more US dollar bills in cash than any nation outside America, hidden in mattresses, walls, and floorboards. This is Argentina, not a collapse, but collapse as a way of life, and the most important question in economics wearing a tango dress. How does a rich country unbecome rich? Start with what was real. The pampas, grasslands, so fertile they seemed like a printing press for food, made Argentina the world's granary and butcher shop. Millions of European immigrants poured in. Buenos Aires built boulevards, palaces, and the Tetrocolan. Railways spread like veins of gold. From 1880 to 1913, Argentina grew faster than almost anywhere on the planet. Nothing about the land, the people, or the talent has changed since. Hold that thought through everything that follows, because Argentina is this series' cleanest proof that wealth is not what's under a country's soil. It's what's written in its rules. The unbecoming began with a broken rule. In 1930, a military coup removed an elected government, the first of many, and stability itself became negotiable. Then came the pattern that would define a century. Governments buying the present with the future. Wages raised by decree, industries walled off from competition, deficits papered over by the printing press, most consequentially under Perón, whose bargain with the working class transformed the country and whose bills never stopped arriving. Inflation stopped being an event and became weather, always there, sometimes drizzle, sometimes storm. By 1989, the storm hit 5,000%. And supermarket prices changed over loudspeakers while people shopped. A rich country running Zimbabwe's playbook decades before Zimbabwe. The most cinematic collapse came in 2001. A decade earlier, Argentina had chained its peso 1-to-1 to the US dollar. A peg so hard it killed hyperinflation overnight and won a decade of applause. You know pegs by now. You know what they hide. When recession came, the country couldn't devalue, couldn't print, couldn't pay. In December 2001, the government did the unthinkable. It froze every bank account in the nation. They called it the Corralito, the little hurrah. Salaries locked. Savings unreachable. The middle class beat pots and pans in the streets. The Cachuelazo, a president resigned and fled the palace roof by helicopter, and the country burned through 5 presidents in 2 weeks. Days later, Argentina declared the largest sovereign default the world had ever seen, some $95 billion. What followed taught Argentines their deepest lesson. The peg was abandoned, the peso collapsed. and dollar deposits. People's actual dollars saved in banks were forcibly converted to pesos at a rate that vaporized most of their value. Officially, it was called pacification. In Argentine memory, it's called simpler things. The economy shed a fifth of its size. More than half the country fell below the poverty line in a nation that exports FOOD. And then, being Argentina, it rose again on a commodity boom and defaulted again in 2014 after a decade-long courtroom war with holdout funds, and again in 2020. 9 defaults. Each one a promise that this time was different. This series has taught you what that phrase costs. Which brings us to the Argentines themselves, the world's undisputed masters of surviving their own country. Every family runs its own central bank. Dollars bought the day salary arrives, stashed in mattresses, cavity walls, safe deposit boxes abroad. A parallel exchange rate, the blue dollar, is quoted in cafes like a sports score. Inflation topped 100% again in recent years. And in 2023, voters handed power to a chainsaw-waving economist promising to dollarize everything and burn the central bank down. The latest turn in a century of extreme answers to one repeated question. Whatever happens next, the mattresses stay full. Trust, once broken 9 times, does not return on the 10th promise. Argentina's warning sign is the deepest in this series. 1 default is an accident. 9 is an operating system. Countries and companies and people are not made wealthy by what they have, but by the rules they keep. Courts that enforce, budgets that bind, money that means the same thing next year. Argentina has soil, sun, food, and genius, and it lacks only the boring things, which turned out to be the only things. And a practical tip you can use anywhere on earth. When the locals don't hold their own country's money, believe the locals, not the brochure. Tomorrow, we go back 7 centuries to the warrior monks who invented international banking and were burned at the stake by their biggest debtor on a Friday the 13th. A new fortune falls here every day. Subscribe.